Next up, we have Francis Edwards. He's a MuleSoft ambassador and integration analyst at Saint-Gobain. Francis, you've probably heard his name before. He is a meetup leader for our West Yorkshire group and can frequently be found at virtual MuleSoft meetups all around the world. Today, Francis is going to discuss useful integration tools in addition to Anypoint Studio. Francis, take it away.
Hi, my name's Francis Edwards. I'm a MuleSoft ambassador and I also work for Saint-Gobain. I work in the building distribution arm, which is the one that delivers bricks, cement, mortar, all the things required on a building site. We have a website, and my work has been involved in integrating our ERP systems with third-party suppliers and producing APIs to allow our website orders to be placed into our ERP system. One fun fact is that I play rugby. I now play for a masters team, and I play against people who are 15 years my junior. So I have to hit them quite hard, but only if I can catch them. Right, today's agenda is looking at how to use regular expressions for testing, for selecting the right files, and for negative lookups. Also, we'll be looking at XML and JSON formatting, comparisons, validation, using XPath, working out problems with byte order marks and line endings. We'll also look at how to handle large files, particularly CSVs, as these can pose problems with delimiters, with encapsulating special characters, and with encoding. When I first came to Saint-Gobain, I found there were a number of issues that I had to resolve. We had a lot of endpoints producing a multitude of files with single pickups that just picked up all the files. This posed problems further down the line because we were picking up too many files, processing too many. Different file types had different service level agreements requiring different regularity of pickups or leaving things till the end of the day. I also found that case sensitivity was a problem. If people produced manual files, if there were ad hoc reports generated, this would sometimes not following file conventions and would get missed. The resolution for picking up the correct files and processing them is to use an online regular expression tester. The tester that I choose is regextester.com. I find that this is matched to Anypoint Studio. Anything that I write and test in this online tool matches that used in MuleSoft. There are others out there, but this is the one that I've used successfully for 3 years. What do I use it for? I use it for writing inclusive regexes to select a certain set of files. I can also use it to negate that and work out what files apart from a set to select. This allows me to pick up the right files and process them on different endpoints, on multiple endpoints, and going to the right destinations. My second tool is Notepad++. I use this for validating data, for looking at data, for making comparisons. I format the data, it makes it easier to read, look for mistakes. I can also use some of the plugins to do things like look for XPath statements and work out what data I'm going to select. All these tools allow me to do things that are possible in MuleSoft, but allow me to check data first, either for producing valid data or for producing invalid data, all for the purpose of working through MuleSoft flows. And finally, EM Editor. This is a useful tool for handling large files. Sometimes I deal with files that have 2 million lines of records. Only a tool like EM Editor can allow me to open it, scan through it, look for special characters, look for misalignment of formatting, looking for delimiters that don't match and cause columns to become out of place. This is all going to be shown in the demo, and for that I've produced a proof of concept app. I've got 3 applications within it. I'm going to demonstrate to you how regular expressions allow you to pick up zip files, and then another regular expression allow you to pick up just the output and handle these on different file pickups. I'm also going to show you how byte order marks can fox XML validations and how I use a number of flows just to handle that and pass it through to a final location. And finally, I'm going to show you how I open up large files, scan through it, and how this tool can help me find problems with the data. And now on to the demo. In this first demo, I'm going to use regextester.com to demonstrate how I write my regular expressions for using in the demo app. The first things I'll do is ensure that 2 flags are enabled. ignore case, and multi-line, as this reflects how Mule file selector works within the Mule libraries. Within the test strings, I've listed a number of file types that I expect to find in the inbound endpoint. I've listed a number of zip files, which I want my first regular expression to check for, and I've issued a number of document and spreadsheet files that I expect to be within the content of the zip files. So my first regular expression, I search for wildcard initially and a .zip anchored to the end of the line. This allows me to select for just the zip files and nothing else that I expect to find within the directory. And then secondly, I expand on this zip anchor and add a negative lookup within the first part. This allows me to ensure that I ignore any zip files and only select everything and anything else that's found within the folder. These two regular expressions I'll then use in the demo app. Here we see two flows, both of which have pickup points in the same location. The first flow uses the first regular expression and is just looking for zip files. The second uses the second regular expression and looks for any content that's not zip files. With the application running, you can see that nothing is being found. So when I drop my first file in, the first flow will find this file, pick it up, and take it into this flow here. Once received, it will then rename the file so that this renamed file can be used as the input for the expression that is then carried out against it and is used to expand the contents. The second flow then picks up these files that are not zip files and can process them onto further locations. In this second example, I want to use Notepad++ and the XML Tools plugin to show how I can format, validate, and check encoding and issues with any XML. In this example, I have an order, which, when using XML Tools Pretty plugin, allows me to reformat it and view the data more easily. This will help with things like drawing up data weaves. I can see from the attributes that there's a schema. I can validate against this schema and check that any test data that I'm putting to the system all conforms to the right sort of data set. One thing I'd like to point out as well is one of the things that this file has. It's in UTF-8 byte order mark format. When looking at the coding, you can see that you can choose either UTF-8 or byte watermark, and this tool allows you to save either and remove byte order marks. The example app that I'm going to show you strips the byte order mark from the files. In this app, I pick up a file, do a string transformation, and then put it through an XML validation. I found in the past that when XML has a byte order mark, this usually fails the validation. And in this scenario, I wish to export it back out to the same file system, pick it up, run an expression against it to remove the byte order mark, and feed it back into the original flow. You can see I've dropped the file in, it's picked up, it progresses to the validation, and in this case fails. It then exports to the file system and is picked up by the second flow, where the expression is carried out and a flow ref sends it back into the first workflow. The file then carries out the same string transformation, goes on to the validation, but this time succeeds and is written out to the file output. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you EM Editor, my favorite tool for handling large files. In this case, I have a file that's over 1 GB in size, but I can easily drag and drop it into the editor, open it in its entirety, and quickly scroll through the data. I can find out how large the data is in terms of lines, in this case, nearly 3 million. I can even use an error checker to go through the data and find examples that are incorrect. This allows me to feed back to the supplier on specific lines of data that need to be corrected to get a valid file, or to eliminate these lines before trying to use them in a data weave. One of my favorite features in EM Editor is the ability to sort data. I can choose columns and sort on longest, shortest, A to Z, fewest and most words. This allows me to choose the data that I need to be included in any data weaves so that I can fully scope what's required in a transformation. This ability to sort the data and select just part allows me to provide sample data that I can use in data weaves within subsequent applications. So in summary then, the benefits of using external tools can be things like quicker app development. It allows you to sort out all your input data. It complements Anypoint Studio because many of the tools do the same functions as what you find in Anypoint Studio, but allow you to do it to external data just to produce valid input data and valid output data. You can test your regular expressions on an array of required and non-required strings and look at this in a single format rather than running them through expressions within MuleSoft. Byte order removal, it's a very particularly useful thing when dealing with XML strings. This was a particular gotcha for me. And finally, ensuring delimiters are independent of the real data to be specified. Key takeaways. Regular expressions can be tested more quickly against valid and invalid file types. The formatting of data can be used to verify the outputs and validate any data inputs. Any cleaning of data can be better understood, particularly in mature applications. And large data sets bring their own problems. Being able to search through these and find idiosyncrasies, changes, delimiters, and special characters means that you can handle these operational challenges more efficiently. And if there are any questions, can you leave them to the live chat?